I'm Chris Erdmann, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening at and whatever time it is in your area. I'm Chris Erdmann, your host of the show Made of More on 1150 AM KKNW. Today, I happen to be sitting here with another one of my friends, and it's almost like a part two of a Nordic Partners Investments. Jeff Derus of Nordic Partners. He's one of the principal owners, one of the three principal owners now, isn't that right?
That's right. Yeah, we have a new member of the team, Jacob Wilson. We're going to be doing some big announcements soon. Very excited for that journey. But Chris, thank you so much for having me on the show today. Great experience. Of course, we go way back. And can't thank you enough for having me on the show. It's great to be on with a good friend as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm excited for what we're just going to unravel here. And we're just going to free flow if that's okay with you.
I like it a lot. Let's talk about our favorite subject.
Real estate before
and
that,
family.
Yeah, family. Before that, let's talk, because you are a machine, but before we talk about the machine, I want to talk about the human.
I like that a lot. Let's do it. Let's dive in.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about where you're from and where you grew up.
Yeah, so born and raised actually in the area. I think you can almost see Overlake Hospital from here.
Yeah.
Seattle resident my entire life. Grew up down on Lake Sammamish, went to high school and middle school locally, and have lived here my whole life. Yeah.
Very good. You've been well connected from the get-go in this area, haven't you?
Yeah, so actually I came from a real estate family. Dad was a sole proprietor, developer. He developed thousands of condos through his career. A lot of that 2000s vintage condo that you'll see on the east side, for example, behind the Home Depot over there in Issaquah. You have about 300 units up there on the hill. That was his project and other things like that. So yeah, from a young age, living locally, but also being heavily immersed in the real estate market locally, going with Dad to the projects, looking at the wood frame once it's up, walking through, really creating just an obsession, a love for real estate from a super young age. Actually, it was kind of always just ingrained in my mind as this is the path.
Wow, phenomenal.
Yeah,
so just your mom and you would show up sometimes and just like bring Dad lunch, or Dad would bring you to the job site?
Teaching me things from a very young age about being an entrepreneur and about working your own business. For me, when I was young growing up, he was showing me, hey, you're going to start something. You're not going to be a CPA. You're going to hire one. Teaching me also that business is done with a handshake. He's very old school, and trust and integrity was everything. When he got started in real estate, it was a much lower barrier to entry. And he would always talk about those stories, those early days for him, where everything is done. It's a super tight-knit group and a lot of handshakes and deals getting done. And then slowly over time, the industry shifted. But today, of course, Nordic Partners, we're a very high trust environment. We believe everything is also in the same way, and that's how we operate over at Nordic.
That's why I've always felt comfortable with you guys. It's good to hear this about your dad, but when I met you and Kevin first, it was a handshake, and we did a few things together, and you guys honored it. I was like, wow, these guys are, they live by the golden rule.
That's what we believe in, high trust, high integrity, and it makes doing business so much easier. Business is difficult enough. We're trying to win as a team, so there should be high trust. We should have absolute frictionless to doing business together. Yeah.
Wow. Do you have any siblings, or?
I do. Yeah, I've got two sisters. Yeah, a younger and an older. So I'm the middle child to two sisters.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what was that like growing up?
It was awesome. Learned how to respect women, I'll tell you that much. My mom was very strict with me. You're always holding doors, doing all the things for the girls. And it was great. Two siblings, it's two best friends I had growing up. And my younger sister actually works for Nordic Partners now. Shout out to you, Emily. Very excited about that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. And hopefully she stays in the industry. She's loving it. It seems like she's really found a home in real estate as well. And to no surprise, because my father was also hers. So it's, she was also raised in that world.
Wow. So what's she doing with you guys now?
So she does property management. She does lease up for us and is kind of a leasing expert and resources coordination. So as we're building more doors, we're growing so rapidly, almost 9% month over month from revenue. She's in there for us, kind of helping us manage the headcount and the resources, which is a very nuanced thing, and she's fortunate to be very good at it.
That's amazing. It sounds all good, but is there any rub working with your siblings in there, or is it all just
not at all? She's one of my best friends. We've always had a great relationship. Yeah. And when we were younger in middle school, I was into the rock music, and so there's my little sister with me going to the Linkin Park concerts.
That's amazing.
It was a great time. Yeah.
Very rare today, and I love hearing it. It's really refreshing, and it makes a lot of sense. having a little bit of that history and bringing it till now, but it makes a lot of sense. And the reason why I've always felt comfortable, and the reason why a lot of our clients feel comfortable with you and Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely a family and spiritual background as well. So I was raised Catholic, still am. And with that goes a lot of things. And high trust and being serious and true to your word is one of those elements. And I think that really comes across when we're doing business. We're here to do business the right way, not just to do it for the sake of doing it. And we want to build a beautiful, loving community around that business and serve them well.
Everybody I've mentioned your name to, they're like, even looking you up on AI, they said you were a man of your word and really community family focused.
I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. And it's just how I live my life. Family is everything. I still see my parents as often as I can and all the rest. It is family first. Even ahead of the business, family is everything. What we do is for our family. We set up our finances. We set up our health, our fitness, everything around that so that we can enjoy time with our loved ones in the short life that we have, because it really is a short life. Yeah,
you don't come off like you're not working to work. You have something bigger than that.
Absolutely.
It is the family that you're working for and everything else beyond.
That's it. And that's what gives you that passion, that drive. And a lot of times I'll end up working 16-hour days. It doesn't feel like work, firstly, because I love the business, but secondly, because it's mission-oriented. It's doing something that's in alignment with what I want in life. And I'm just very pleased with where we're at with all of it. And we worked really hard to get here. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like, pinch me, I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
We've built something. We put in the blood, sweat, and tears in it. It's finally paying off. And really, the family is the thing. I would like to be able to retire a bit younger so that I can be there at the soccer games for the kids at some point in time. So I can be there as a part of their life and be more disconnected later in life with the requirement of business. Maybe we're doing a few deals here and there, but it's really about family and friends.
It really is.
Yeah.
I kind of want to dive deeper right in this section right here.
Yeah.
And it's because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, young or older entrepreneurs, and they think that it is about the money and it's about the grind. But listening to you, you're shooting well past that. And just want to see if you have any words of wisdom in what we're talking about for the general listener.
For the general listener, it's don't pursue the money. Pursue something that you love. The money will follow. If you're doing something you like, you're going to be the best at it. Any single business niche, any category has high earners within it. The thing is that those earners are 1 inch wide, 100 feet deep. They're doing their passion. They're living their life the way exactly that they want to live it. And it shows in the quality of work that they deliver to the marketplace, and they're always rewarded.
I love that.
Just do what you love. And if you don't absolutely love what you're doing, it's never too late to stop and to pivot and get a new alignment. Again, life is way too short. We just need to have that alignment, because at the end of the day, the point of work, the point of all this, it is ultimately happiness. Like, we're working hard so that we can enjoy our lives, so we can enjoy our friends and family. And we're not working just because we enjoy the work, but we do love multifamily. We do love doing what we do, but it's so much more than that. And to young entrepreneurs, that's exactly what you need to focus on, is focus on you and your calling. If your calling is art, go build a business around selling your artwork. That's a beautiful thing.
Something that you just wake up wanting and loving to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the secret sauce. The secret sauce isn't researching what makes the most money. I'm going to go do that. The secret sauce is pursuing your passion.
Wow. I think there's a lot of little bites and sound clips here that, that people would really benefit from. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to back up even further. You spoke a lot about your mom, dad, a little bit about your mom, but and I could just see right now, it's pretty clear as day that you're a curious person. You were probably a very curious kid, but what was your dad like? Was he just as curious, or was he like, hey, always talking to you about what he's doing, or was it because you were so curious?
Talking to me about what he was doing because I was curious. Yeah, my he was always like a big kid, very eccentric, very outgoing.
Yeah.
And actually, as a developer, he didn't work a whole ton of hours. He was there for us the whole time. And in fact, one of my best friend's little brothers, around 4th or 5th grade, had been one of my best friends since kindergarten. Little brother was always there. He said, who in your family works? Like, does your dad work? Because my dad was always around.
Yeah.
Because he was doing deals.
He was doing deals.
Yeah.
He was working from
and he was
home.
just doing as many deals as he needed to do. He wasn't pushing it down. And I asked him once, I said, actually directly said, why don't you do more deals? He said, well, how much money do you need? We have what we need, and I have time with you guys.
What a role model.
And that really stuck with me.
What a role model. Oh, wow. Yeah. And then tell me a little bit more about your mom.
My mom, she's awesome. She's warm. She's loving, very religious, and absolutely the centerpiece for morality for my upbringing in terms of my treating of women and all of the rest. And I look up to my mom tremendously.
I love that.
She's like the center of the household and all the rest. It was excellent. She was a stay-at-home mom my whole life.
What a great foundation.
Yeah, in faith and in family. And that's really the key to happiness. I think it's fitness, it's faith, and it's finance and family. These are the foundations. If you can get these things into alignment, it's a recipe for a lot of happiness and a lot of fulfillment. I'm very convinced of that.
Yeah, we need to get this on a t-shirt and put this out there. The faith, fitness, family, and finance.
That's
right.
Did
I miss anything?
No, that's it. Yeah.
All right. I love that.
Yeah.
So you had a great role model. Is there any other role models in your early years?
In my early years, I was really focused on the family and the real estate. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really that into watching or following sports. So where a lot of people I think would follow, hey, my role model was an athlete. I was actually a drummer when I was younger. So I would look up to people like Travis Barker, Danny Carey, Carter Beauford, these famous drummers. Yeah. And then, of course, once I got into business, it was more like Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, so on and so forth.
All right. So, and it sounds like you're still educating yourself, even though you're so successful.
It never stops. You should always be in the pursuit of knowledge, and you should always enter every single situation and conversation knowing and acknowledging that their perspective may be better than mine in this case. I'm here to pursue the truth, not what I think is the truth. And that's how I approach business always. And I actually had a philosophy class in college, and that's what the professor said. He's like, to be a philosopher and a scholar is the pursuit of truth. And I think it also forces us to have a sense of humility where we enter a conversation and, hey, I'm going to present what I have to say, but under the full expectation and potential that what you have to say might be different than what I have to say, and it might actually be better than what I have to say and more accurate. Entering everything in that perspective, of course, we know what we know and we're experts in our craft, but keeping an open eye and being open to growing is so important. Yeah. And it's, everybody in our company, right when they come in, we're like, hey, get your broker's license, we'll pay for it. It's an excellent course, you should at least do it. No matter what they're doing in our business, it's something that, go pursue the knowledge.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. Sounds like you don't let your ego get in the way of knowledge.
You can't have ego.
Yeah.
You especially can't have ego in real estate.
Yeah.
Real estate, I'd say most real estate is bad real estate. People get out there and they dive into something and it's an efficient market. Things are going to be sold at a market rate to where it's like, hey, you're not going to be making that much money because it's efficient. So you have to really know your craft, be in your niche, and know how to pursue your lane to find great deals. And approaching that with a sense of humility, because these ships, if you will, these businesses have a lot of critical mass you have to respect significantly and always be humble about your craft.
Yeah. And, and this doesn't surprise me, but, you're just dumping a lot of gold nuggets out here. One question is like, how do you handle it? Because there are a lot of egos out there and you're in the world of negotiations.
Yeah.
Not just for yourself, but for your clients that you're representing.
Yeah.
And you have a buy box that you have to stay within that's regulated. But I'm sure you come across people that do have an ego and that feel like they know it all and you're up against them in negotiations. Do you have any things that you want to share as far as examples of how you work with that type of mentality?
Yeah, absolutely. So a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie has always been one of my favorites. I'll reread that every couple of years.
Yeah, I'm actually listening to it again right now.
It is so great, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what it teaches us to do is center ourselves in that exact situation. How do you win the person over to your way of thinking without stepping on toes loosely? How do you convince them that your idea is the best one, is the best for them? Because genuinely in business, I'm not here to sell you on something. I'm here to create a mutually beneficial situation where you're winning and I'm winning equally and collaboratively. And How to Win Friends and Influence People really lays the foundation for that kind of knowledge and that kind of execution. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it does. And beyond.
And beyond. Yeah, it's such a great book. For anybody listening out there, it is one to add to your read list. Go hammer it out this month. You want to have read it yesterday.
You won't
in my
regret
opinion,
it.
it's one of the best business books ever made, even though I don't know if it's marketed as a business book as much of a psychology and life self-help book.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the newer books are based on that book right there.
On that premise, I absolutely think the same. Yeah.
All right. Well, as we're going on, any other books that you recommend?
Yeah, so let's see here. I've actually got a couple written down, some of my favorites. Oh, Think and Grow Rich, of course, by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a really lighthearted story, of course, and it exposes you to the idea, rich dad, poor dad. Here's a different version of looking at finances versus here's this version, this 9-to-5 version where we're in this box where somebody's telling us exactly what our time is worth versus going out there and building something and allowing it time to build and to snowball. And that's really the center of business. It's delayed gratification, and that book really helps introduce you to that topic, that idea.
Yeah, I love Robert Kiyosaki. I just actually downloaded one on Audible that I went through, but it's one of his books just on real estate and went through all the fundamentals and he was interviewing a lot of his professional colleagues that he uses, like his CPA, his lawyer, and all that. And so I'd recommend listening or reading to any of Robert Kiyosaki's books.
Yeah. So it's actually Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think I said Think and Grow Rich. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah.
And it's just such a great fundamental book. It's a great place to start your journey of if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur. It's a really good, these soft skills, I think, as an entrepreneur, somebody setting out to achieve something for yourself, it's most important you work on the soft skills first. Anybody can learn the knowledge. None of us are rocket scientists. We're not 1,000 IQ over here. Anybody can do this stuff. It's, do you have the soft skills and the belief mindset to actually power through the troughs, because there will be troughs. How you think it's going to go is simply not how it's going to go. You have to be willing to get back up and continue fighting. We like to say that we're in the trenches, we're at war with our teammates, and that's exactly it. And that's why you also want to pick partners like Kevin Falk and Jacob Wilson, because these guys are in the trenches with you. You need to be able to trust them to the end of the world. And honestly, that's what I feel like with Kevin. That's why we've gotten so far so quickly, is because we know that we have each other's backs. We're picking up all deliverables. We're just getting the work done, getting it done diligently and at a good pace.
Yeah, I agree. Tell me a little bit more about these just expand for the listener the soft skills.
Yeah, absolutely. The soft skills are super interesting. And I would start with belief. So the soft skill is you're pursuing something that isn't there. You have to create this business out of thin air. You're going to do that. You're going to put in all this time and you're not going to get a whole lot of reward out of the gates. There's no get rich quick. Doesn't exist. You have to put in dedication over time. The other soft skill is being good with people. You want to be kind to others. You want to expand your network and you want to invite people into your life, because that's how you grow. Your network is your net worth. We also believe that, and it's kind of one of our idioms there at Nordic, is it's a very important thing to allow people in. And the other soft skill is just, this is a funny one, but get done.
Yeah.
Yesterday is a better time than today to have gotten the thing. Don't put it off till tomorrow. I think that far too many people line up their schedule. Hey, I'm going to do this next week. I'm going to do this then. Well, why not today?
Yeah, why not?
Why not go to sleep knowing that those tasks and those deliverables are done today so that I can focus tomorrow with a clear mind and new set of top level goals?
Wow, what an animal here. So you just see like this mindset is like really strong, and you've worked on it over the years.
It's very important, yeah. And over the years, I've had a lot of successes and a lot of failures, but entrepreneurship was always something that I did from a young age. And I came up here pretty early out of college, and I built freshmeal.com. And that first kind of taught me of, hey, whatever expectation that you think you have for your business, it's not going to go exactly the way that you want. And it's really a spiritual game.
Let's talk about freshmeal.com.
Sure.
Yeah. What is that?
So everyone's familiar with HelloFresh, Blue Apron. So we basically took a similar business model, except we had a team of chefs doing the cooking. So people would go online, they'd sign up for their subscription on our custom-built platform. It was excellent.
Yeah.
And then it would start showing up to their doorstep automatically through the mail. We had a team of chefs. We were vertically integrated with the delivery drivers and built our own tech platform. So it was a really fun journey.
And was this something you created from the ground up?
It was, yeah.
And how old were you?
Pretty young. My first job out of college was actually with the tech company, and I had been working on businesses during college that got me that opportunity. And I went down with this tech company called Task Easy, and I saw what they were doing, and I said, hey, I think I can do this. I think I can build my own company, and even to this scale, I'm going to go home and try. So I left Utah and came home and sat in front of the computer for days on end and just figured out what my business plan was going to be. Ended up syncing up with my business partner, Thomas Chang, at that time, and he had this idea, knew that I was trying to pursue something, and we ended up building Fresh Meal. Wow. And it was an excellent execution. Yeah.
One of your first big endeavors, I would say.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and you've been listening to our guest, Jeff Derus of Nordic Partners, one of the principal owners here. So tune back in after these messages on 11:50 a.m. KKNW.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Find our app in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and take us with you wherever you go. Alternative Talk AM 1150.
Welcome back to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, sitting here with Jeff Derus, and we're here on KKNW 1150 AM. So, Jeff, you were just talking about your first big endeavor with Fresh Meal, and what was the season you finally moved on from that?
Yeah, so Fresh Meal, we were hammering along, and then unfortunately we hit some headwinds with COVID. We were really a ground game team. We were partnered with businesses like Gold Gym and other small gyms throughout the area, and actually partnered, and this will come full circle, with a gym that Brian Oliver, who is one of our early investors in Nordic, was actually an equity holder in. So he and I were doing business way back then under that context. But
Sure.
Fresh Meal, yeah, we just weren't an online marketing company yet, and everything was focused on ground game. So when the headwinds came, we pivoted, and I jumped out of that. And it was at that point in time when I made the decision. I said, hey, I've had this passion for real estate my whole life. It's what my dad did. It's what I always wanted to do. And that's when I pivoted my career, went over to Kidder Matthews, sat with Blair Howe, which was excellent. He was an awesome mentor to me. We did commercial real estate consulting, like highest and best use feasibility analysis for developers, and also advised on the transit-oriented developments codes across the Seattle to Everett, Seattle, the light rail that was going in there. So that was a great experience. Some other clients were like the city of Sammamish, advising them on, hey, here's what you might get on your central downtown, because multifamily right now isn't feasible and you guys are trying to develop this. They kind of had a cake format where they're going for their very dense stuff, and then as you get towards the end, it's townhomes. You go one farther out, it's single family homes, and essentially it's getting companies or municipalities like that to see the market and guide them into reality of where things are at, which was that, hey, you're not going to get this vibrant downtown right now. Might have to start with the townhomes and work your way in and focus on the bigger development stuff in the future. So very blessed to have had a seat at the table with Blair, especially while he was on his last few years of his career. He was a CCIM, wealth of knowledge, an absolute mentor to me, teaching me about real estate analytics and fundamentals.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a big genre of lessons and mentorship that you had ever since moving into real estate. And what's really neat to hear is you, even before real estate, you were doing business with a gentleman by the name of Brian, and he followed you into a different career path and invested with you again.
Yeah, that's right. Well, some years later, of course, when Kevin and I synced up and the first couple deals were done, it came time to do the first public syndication.
Yeah.
So you're thinking through, because that's very difficult. You don't have a huge track record. You're going out there and saying, hey, I have this business plan. It's going to work. My numbers are sound, but believe in me. And so it was a very natural process. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, because what I've heard is you guys started with $2,000.
We did, yeah.
But let's back up here.
Yeah.
Talk about how you and Kevin actually linked up, and what did this look like?
Yeah, it was through mutual connection, Michael Odegaard. So Michael and I, post Fresh Meal, I sat down and started brainstorming different strategies, investment thesis, and saying, hey, where am I going to go with this? Michael was in real estate at that point with CBRE doing property management, so he and I were synced up. And he said, hey, I've got this friend who is also in the same mindset right now, working on entrepreneurship, on investment thesis within multifamily, though, instead of single family, which is where Michael and I were. We had some conversations, and I told there's an aha moment. Kevin and his family were doing Nordic Heights, the first deal. They were kind of midway through it, and I sat down and I looked at the underwriting and the models, and I turned to Michael and say, it simply is the case that we've got to change our thesis to this. We need to be doing value-add multifamily. The numbers are stronger. The deal fundamentals are better. It's more deployable, more scalable than just fix and flipping single-family homes, or in our context, we were actually pursuing wholesaling contracts in single-family homes originally.
Sure. Which,
in hindsight, you're doing a lot of work for very little return if that's your strategy. So very glad that we pivoted. Very blessed to have met Kev, and all of us meshed very well from very early on in that we had similar goals and ideals and ideologies on how we wanted to approach business.
Wow. Sounds like just the aligning of the stars that you guys meeting each other.
It really was. Yeah, he had something he was very excited about. He said, hey, I've been doing this PM for so long. I'm ready for a change. And here I am, here Michael is. And it was the three-headed monster out of the gates is what we used to call ourselves. And we just went on. And actually our first deal together, we were blessed enough that Michael's family was interested in multifamily. So they were our second group of investors for our second deal.
Okay.
So by the time we went to syndicate our first true syndication, we already had 25 units across 2 assets of transactions and business plans that were executed properly. And I think that track record is very understated. I think it's very difficult to get going in that space because, again, You are going out, no matter how much experience you have in other elements, you're going out and expecting people to trust you with their finances, their hard-earned money, and trust your strategy and your knowledge.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, walk us through what that looked like, getting people to follow you guys into that.
Yeah, so that first deal would have been Nordic View, very exciting deal and a big roller coaster, and we'll get to the kind of the crescendo of it 3 days before we closed it, what happened. And I did hear the thing with Kevin, and he did touch on it, but I'll touch on it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was those initial partners went very far, and reaching out to Brian again, full circle from the Fresh Meal days. He was somebody that was in real estate. He was actually thinking about multifamily at the time, so it was an excellent outreach. And he happened to have a network, and we got some core investors in that deal, and I think we only had to backfill the last $400,000 of that deal. And it wasn't easy to raise. I think that was the hardest raise that we've ever done for sure, was that first true syndication.
Yeah, and how much of your own money did you bring to that deal?
Well, we started the business with $2,000, so yeah. So we were able to, and Brian was gracious enough to be with us on the GP bench, and so with the bank's requirements, the banks do want you to have skin in the game, so they were satisfied because he was a partner on the deal that his equity counted as the equity in the project with us.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, you have to get very creative in real estate, and that's why we talk about it being a belief game. Have your business plan in mind, be hyper clear on what you want to do, why you want to do it, and also why it's right for you and your lifestyle, and then go out and just start executing. Yesterday is better than today. Never wait that extra day, because tomorrow is always tomorrow, and that tomorrow could be 3 years in the future, and I think it's that way for most people.
Yeah, I've seen that. We've all experienced it.
We have, and in particular, a lot of folks, and they come and ask for advice on starting a business, I said, don't become a wantrepreneur. Don't go talk about the business plan to 7 dozen different people. Keep it, build it in the dark, build it with yourself, build it, keep a couple people who you trust close to it, bounce it, ping-ponging it is important.
Yeah.
But just do it. Just go and start executing, whatever that means, taking those steps forward. In the context of real estate, it's start prospecting deals. Start going on market, start underwriting deals that could be a good prospect, get a few good ones, approach a mentor if you're lucky enough to have one, or a few people that might be interested, and start talking about your business plan and what you intend to do with it, and then find a partner. Don't go in alone. I think entrepreneurship is a team sport. I would never just start a business alone, actually. I don't believe in...
This goes the opposite of what a lot of people say, so tell us a little bit more about your mindset here.
Yeah, I don't believe in sole proprietorship. I think that it's super important to have two perspectives, and we went back to real estate being a game of humility. There's so many ways to approach a deal, and even if you're an expert in the space, even if you're doing a lot of deals, you want somebody there with you who also has a perspective. They may see something different than you do. And that's what makes Kevin and I so strong, is that when we approach things, there's two of us doing analytics, and sometimes we'll approach things like rent comps, and I'll say, hey, I've got my rent comps. I would like for you to go do your own without looking at mine. Let's see how close we are. And that's the kind of due diligence that we're giving our investors, is we're checking everything twice. There's two of us covering so much ground.
And it's obvious you guys probably find some mistakes or some things that you've looked over, correct?
Sure.
Every time?
And you're always refining your business plans. And our gut and our intuition has become very good because we're managing so many units in Seattle. We had to earn that and get to that point. But even there, you always want multiple pairs of eyes on everything. It's just very important to approach it with the sense of humility. Like, because what you have to deliver is a stellar investment property opportunity that's been well vetted multiple times.
Well, as you're talking about this, trying to catch issues ahead of time, what big issues or hurdles have you come across over the past few years that you do want to share and that you've had maybe some hard lessons with?
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, pretexting that 3 days before the closing of Nordic View, we got that letter from the bank, and the bank said, we are not going to fund your loan. For us at that time period, we didn't have a tremendous amount of cash. We hadn't been executing the business for years, and that would have been catastrophic, losing that $50,000 in earnest money at that point in time. So the lesson for us there was that good professional services do pay off. We spend a tremendous amount on who we think is the best CPA. He actually syndicates himself as well. Greg Russell over at Peter Russell, Living Good, for legal advice. And he came recommended by...
And he's the guy that helped you guys cross the line on that deal.
He is,
pulled people back into the boat that were jumping out.
He did. We basically told the bank, hey, you're not going to hear from us anymore. And he jumped in, and all coordination went through him, and very quickly he won them over to our way of thinking on that deal, and it was appropriate. He said, hey, they're not understanding the syndication setup that you guys have here, and let me jump in, and he did, and there's probably other things that they talked about as well, but we were very fortunate, very blessed to have somebody that strong on our team, and we've always taken that with us, is you just do quality work with quality people, and you don't skimp on things like professional services. You pursue the best, and you pay for it.
Sure. Yeah, well, that's great advice.
Yeah.
And it's like that with the rest of your vendors too. Like you have
Absolutely.
some of the best contractors, some of the best cleaners, and so forth, so on, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, a new vendor that we have for kind of turning our assets, we go in and we'll buy a 20-unit build and it needs to be renovated, the complete thing. Our current vendor is probably one of the biggest in the Pacific Northwest doing this. They do all the stuff for Avalon Bay and many other large-scaled clients. So we're very fortunate that they took on our portfolio, which is relatively small compared to that.
Sure. And what do you think made them decide to work with you?
It was the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a great connection with those guys and hit it off well. And it was actually an introduction as well from somebody that was internetwork, and faith and alignment always happens. You just present well and do things honestly, and the world has a way of repaying that energy. I really believe that.
It's a great mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's the only way to operate.
Any other lessons that you want to talk about and share along the way?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that go into... Let me see. I've actually got some notes I brought with me.
Yeah, take a look. Look into
Let's
them.
take a look.
On one of our meetings, that you guys were talking about this apartment complex that you guys are very excited about. What I was really impressed by you guys is, it's not just about the numbers. There's a whole lot of things that check off the boxes that you're ready to walk away from a deal if it doesn't feel like it's going to be the best investment for you and your clients.
Yeah, that's right. We're very picky. You have to have an abundance mindset with business. There's always a deal out there that works. If you get into your due diligence and you discover something that's out of line from what you would like to see for your investment thesis, don't go at that deal. Pivot and go after something else. Save yourself the headache. For example, we don't specialize in remedying burnt buildings. If we discovered that, hey, there's this unit that's got this burnt element to it, or there's a significant swath of it, maybe it's a super high yield, but we don't chase yield. We stay in our lane, and our lane is value add multifamily and relatively slight value add. So we're doing things like electrical systems and plumbing. We're not doing partial developments or any sort of full development. We go in there, we want to turn the asset relatively quickly and execute these business plans in about a year. And we want to hit singles and doubles with them. We just want to provide consistent returns over time. Our investors are not expecting us to go out there and have these grand slams and sell this high in the sky yield. That's not what we're about. We're about producing consistent risk adjusted returns over a long period of time and helping our clients build wealth along with us in these projects.
What are some of your conservative cash on cash returns with some of your past investments that you guys closed?
Yeah, we run a 5% pref, so our minimum expectations that we're always, even in these construction projects, which aren't geared around cash on cash or geared around exiting them, but you'll usually be in that 6 to 7, maybe 8% range. And our cap on total costs, or trended yield on cost, we pursue something in the 6.5 to 7.25 range. And that's really what we look at when we're looking at a deal. A lot of people are looking at cap rates going in. Okay, cap rates going in are basically meaningless in the value add space because you might have huge vacancy. You're buying it because it's a failing business. A single asset that you buy, every multifamily deal is its own business. You're going in, you're auditing the books, you're auditing the business plan, you're seeing what's wrong with it, and you're going in there to right the ship, to make it a stellar business plan, to turn it around, and then to hand it off to somebody who wants to hold that business for the long term. So that's all we do, is we take the businesses, which is the multifamily properties, we go in, we remedy it, we get good, well-paying tenants, and we get the systems up to date, and then we hand it off to somebody through transaction who wants to hold it long term, and we exit for our team.
Yeah, and you guys have been really conservative but have a really thorough plan on your stabilized cap rates. You want to talk about that a little bit? It's really impressive.
Well, yeah, that's the cap on costs, the stabilized cap rates. So basically, we're looking at that cash flow once you're into it. Yeah, your NOI relative to your total uses going in, because your acquisition price isn't really the sticker price. It's how much money total is it taking to get this deal done.
Sure.
So you may have $1 million acquisition, but you may have $300,000. So you're really going into that by $1.3 million. That's very basic, but that's how we look at it, and we look at all of it from that standpoint. And furthermore, we look at deals from the downside usually. When we're looking at a deal, we find good deals. We get a lot of deals that come through. But we want to know that this is a risk-adjusted return, that we can hit these returns, that going into it, it's cash flow neutral. So we want to see that when we acquire the deal, that on day one, with the in-place rents, that the thing is on its feet. It's able to cash flow, so that even if we did nothing, if we didn't execute the business plan even at all, it would still be just fine. And I think that's in contrast to a lot of teams where they're willing to go in and they're willing to be running in the red pretty significantly out of the gates. We believe never run in the red. Always have contingency. Yeah. And then create the upside on top of that.
That's a fantastic mindset. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. A lot of investors that I talk to, especially the ones that are just beginning, they hinge right on the cap rate. What is that cap rate today when there's actually a much bigger picture
Much bigger picture.
Yeah. Any advice for those early on investors that are doing it like that?
Yeah. Underwrite the deal. Look at the heart of the deal. Look at your debt service coverage. Your debt service coverage is really, it's the heartbeat of risk. If you have a huge debt service coverage, then you know you're going to be able to exit the deal. And also look towards the exits. A lot of people get in the seller financing trap where, I'm going to get this seller financed rate at 4% so I can afford to pay $2 million. Whereas reality, by the market rate debts, that's way too much leverage. And if you sell it in 5 years, a lot of those people, they'll have to actually inject cash to get rid of those deals. So you want to make sure that you are aligned with market rate capital for your exit, and you want to be underwriting to that exit. So when the next person comes in to buy, am I actually going to be able to exit at that point? And furthermore, that's if you need to refinance, because we have market cycles. If things change for the worse in the market cycle, you want to be able to hold your asset indefinitely. You need to make sure that you can refinance no problem at any point in time in the life cycle of your deal once you've done your renovations. And that for us is a non-negotiable and removes a huge amount of risk. So seller financing, it's one of those buzzwords. To us, it's kind of a head for the hills because this person hasn't been humbled by the market yet.
Right. But it's not cut and dry. Sometimes you get a fair deal for both people.
Absolutely. Sometimes you can get a fair deal for both people. But our thesis is also buy basis. And generally, if they're setting up under those circumstances, they're expecting a higher basis in exchange for their seller financing. But you make the money on the purchase. Deals we have right now under contract, we're 130 a door in Capitol Hill. We have one on the east side that's sub 120,000 a door. We have one right in East Lake that's 212 a door. These are all over $100,000 per door under market.
Well, you heard it here. Jeff Derus he's a man. He's there underwriting the deal. He's got Kevin backing up underwriting the deal. They know what they're talking about. They're very conservative. They look at all angles when it comes to cap rates, future cap rates, stabilized cap rates. And it seems like Jeff could do his own master class on any of this right here. If you want to know more, this guy is the guy to talk to. So we're going to tune out for some messages from some of our sponsors here. You've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, right here on KKNW 1150 AM. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Chris.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdmann. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Get your daily dose of variety. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann. We're here on KKNW 1150 AM. Sitting across the table for me is Jeff Derus of Nordic Partners, and we just been diving deep into his mindset, his mentality, just a little bit about everything. And I kind of want to just keep going further into who you are. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. Is that okay?
I like that a lot. Let's do it. Yeah, we've been touching on a lot of topics, but entrepreneurship is a very deep thing.
Yeah, it is a very deep thing, isn't it?
It's exciting.
But before moving on, you guys are always doing deals. Isn't that right?
We're always doing deals. Anybody out there that wants to partner with us that's interested, we have 3 deals under contract now. Yeah. So we're always flying forward, and honestly, a great place for them to get to know the deals would actually be through you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, I know a lot about these deals right now, and I've been connecting quite a few people, even just today.
Yeah, it's excellent. So we appreciate you, and it's always such a great partnership and friendship, Chris.
I appreciate it, because every time I talk to you, you're a lot younger than me, but I'm always learning when I talk to you. So
we're fired up. It's an exciting journey, right?
It is. Yeah, it is. You guys got the energy. I think that's really important too. Is like whatever you're doing out there in the world, is make sure if you're going to be doing something with somebody else. And Jeff really said it, like, don't be a solopreneur. Would you call it?
A sole proprietor.
Yeah.
Go into it in a partnership. Go with somebody else. Yeah. Take that journey with somebody that you have a tremendous amount of trust in. And also, if you can't sell the idea to somebody else in your first person who's this close person, it might be tough to sell in the future. It might be a good litmus test early on.
Yeah. and work with somebody that's going to give you energy and you're going to have fun with.
Yeah, you've got to be able to, we call it the ping pong effect. You want to be able to bat it back and forth any hour of the day. Like, that's the beautiful thing about Kevin and I is we love what we do so much.
Yeah.
We're on the phone 10, 11, 12 at night. We don't care. We're talking, I just had this awesome idea. Let's go try this. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
We love those calls.
I always get the
It's
text
like
back.
a pastime for us. It's super fun.
I love it. I get the text back from you guys. LFG.
Yes.
I won't tell you what that means, but you...
Always. And it's keeping the energy high day to day, keeping the motivation high. But the motivation becomes a natural byproduct of living healthy and kind of like going into lifestyle. That's something that Kevin and I believe a lot in. And actually our staff as well is like, we actually don't drink alcohol.
That's amazing.
I don't consume alcohol. I did dry January back in 2024. Had such a great experience with it that for me personally, I said, oh my gosh, my brain is functioning very well. I feel so much clarity. I feel very light on my feet. It feels incredible to not be consuming alcohol. And I didn't have an issue with it at all. It was something casual I did and I removed it from my life and it's paid tremendous amounts of dividends. I even took it one step further. I removed caffeine from my life. I was somebody who was doing 500 milligrams caffeine.
Can you believe this guy doesn't have caffeine? Could you imagine him on caffeine?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Way fired up. But the thing is, that natural energy, that natural serotonin,
starts coming through.
You'll get it back. But there's a third part of this that's the key element, and none of it works without it. You got to get your sleep. If you're doing 5 hours of sleep, the whole thing will probably crash. I make sure to get 7 to 8 hours a night. Like, I protect that very strictly.
Yeah.
And if you get proper sleep, you can function properly, you can continue your energy throughout the day, and you can keep ripping, especially...
I agree with you 100%.
yeah.
I got to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But, if I have that, I can go all day and I can go strong.
Absolutely. And that's what's important. It's important to be able to carry the momentum throughout the day. And look, we're entrepreneurs. If something needs to get done and you're approaching your 9th hour, okay, well, today might become an 14, 15, 16-hour day. That's perfectly fine, but you got to make sure that you can have the energy and the passion to get through those days.
What about, do you have a morning ritual that sets you up for the day?
Yeah, what's interesting is I'm not a huge ritual person.
Yeah.
I more so kind of just live in love and harmony kind of with this business, and my wife is extraordinarily supportive. And my ritual, I was doing cold showers. I love 75 Hard. I love Andrew Frisilla and his programs there. Yeah. You and I actually connected on that.
I did 90 days on that one.
You did the Live Hard as well. You went beyond the 75 Hard.
Yeah, I didn't complete the Live Hard, but the 75 days, the 75 Hard originals, I just decided to keep moving that along, and that was more than enough.
I would recommend to anybody out there listening, give that program a try. It works. It touches on the no alcohol. It touches on drinking water. It touches on eating healthy and consuming knowledge. It's reading just 10 pages a day, but those 10 pages add up over time, and that's his point. And if you start developing these atomic habits, they'll snowball for you. And for me, it goes into things like no alcohol, no caffeine, exercise. So I do go to the gym frequently. You're just trying to live a happy and healthy life. And at the end of the day, I'm not even trying to live healthy. You just become habitually healthy in the way that you're executing your life.
This is just the way of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And you stop thinking about, when you're out with friends, I need to have alcohol. Great, I'll have a soda water. Yeah. I'm still here with my great friends that I've had for a very long time and having a great time.
This is phenomenal. I love that you don't have to make excuses anymore, that you're just consuming whatever it is else that you want to consume, and you're consuming life.
That's right. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are very ingrained in habits. I want to wake up at exactly this time each day, and I want to be exactly this on my morning routine. I'm just not like that. I wake up when it makes sense for me in my work day, and I just dive into things.
I got one habit that I've been moving on for a while. It's just a walk. It's a game changer. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't know that I have time for this because I have so many things to do, but I've been making time for it just about almost every single day, and just 45 minute walk changes my entire day. It actually, for some reason, opens up a lot more time. And I think it's just because I'm way more productive, way more creative, and also just more communicative to the people I need to delegate things to and work with on stuff.
Oh, I agree. And actually, my wife and I, we just got a little wiener dog last year. We walk her every single day. We do about the same, about 1 mile walk. And
what a great bonding experience for you and your wife.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's our morning routine. We'll wake up, and I just said, there aren't too many strict routines, but this is something that we do enjoy. There's a coffee shop down there. We live out in Falls City, so we'll walk the dog down there, and I'll get a little matcha and very light on the caffeine with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, this is the experience of being outdoors early in the morning. It's so important.
It's not even a routine to you, but yet it is.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
What do you feel like happens with your thoughts after that morning walk with you and your wife and the dog?
Well, I think the big thing is that it minimizes cortisol. People have this anxiety, this cortisol that builds up in their chest, and they're not aware of it. And it comes from excessive caffeine. If you're having 100 plus milligrams, 200 milligrams a day, if you're drinking on the weekends, Andrew Huberman has some great content about how that drinking on the weekends carries cortisol. And so your passive stress level is higher even when you're not drinking on a Wednesday, but you did on the Saturday. So really the walk for me and getting outdoors like that is actually something that keeps the cortisol and keeps the equilibrium, keeps cortisol low. And that's so important.
I'm going to hop back on check on me in less than 2 weeks. I'm going to start the 75 hard again.
Yes. Okay. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I very well may join you. 75 hard season is usually the fall for me. So I would love to get back into that.
Right now I'm doing a lot of things just naturally because like from the last time I did it, I've kept doing a lot of the habits, but I noticed that I'm way more productive and my energy level is quite a bit higher when I'm doing that, especially after the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's the thing when we talk about habits. Now that I'm thinking about it, there are habits, but you don't think of it like that because you have a few months of very focused energy where you're doing things like 75 hard, which is a habit building program, and then all of a sudden you kind of just passively carry these things forward, and you're not really worried about it, but you are actually doing good habitual things consistently.
They're not even habits, they're just a way of your life.
A way of your life at that point.
Yeah.
And that's why you're living this relaxed, free life, doing a business that you love, being healthy, being there for your loved ones, and then you get into this equilibrium where all of a sudden, you don't feel like a work-life balance. You feel like, hey, I've just got my life and this is it. And it's all just kind of balanced. And
I love
you
it.
just want to live in that pocket if you can get there.
Yeah. I like every time, like almost every other sentence, you're bringing it back right to family and your community and love. And it just speaks volumes for who you are as a person, who you become, or who you've been in your entire life. It sounds like it came from the roots of your mom and dad. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good job, mom and dad.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, do you get stressed?
Well, that kind of goes with all of it, like we said, we're doing all these things that chemically lower your ability to experience stress. I'd say relative to most people, I probably don't experience stress in the same way that they do.
Right.
Coming on a TV show like this should be something that's a high stress thing.
Yeah, and
we're having a great time at it.
We are having a great time. You seem really relaxed. It's like you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, and this, of course, is my first radio show. I think it's a very cool studio. For those of you that can't see around, it's a very legit studio and very cool, very fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it looks like a flight tower, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. This is the control room in here. It's very cool.
Yeah, okay. Well, what about, and this whole thing I feel like has been about leadership, but do you have any leadership advice for anybody that's listening?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like combat. When you go into war, if you're the guy that's out there, you want to be leading the battalion, you better be in front.
Yeah. Okay.
You better be the one that's willing to lead by example. And that's super important. If you're in the trenches with your employees, if you're down there in the nitty gritty, you're not above any of that. All we're there to do, it's an inverted pyramid. The tenants and the investors are first, our business is second, but last is Kevin and I. We're here to serve our team and serve the investments. And on any given day, we'll have to jump into a myriad of things to achieve that goal. We always want the team to feel supported and enabled and to feel like leaders themselves of their own book of business within our business. You're managing these properties, own that property management, love what you're doing, be passionate about it. Tell us what you're most proud of this week. What did you do this week that you want to attach your name to? And actually in meetings, we'll do that. Go around the room and say what you're proud of. We've done this before. And these types of things are very infectious. And that's what you want to do is inspire your team to lead themselves and be autonomous. And because you're leading first, you're putting that first foot forward and leading by example that they can do that.
Yeah. You're stepping in, you're doing the groundwork if you need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys will get in your car and drive to that building. Yeah. I know you guys do this.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very boots on the ground. Kevin and I are absolutely still part of the ground game. Yeah. We love going out to the assets. It's a great sense of pride, too,
I've seen you guys walk right around, and if there's something to pick up, you guys are not too proud of that.
Every single time.
Yeah.
That is our, we want our investments to go well. And that's part of our investing thesis, too, is to invest in our own backyard. I like to say, I don't look out my window and see Amazon's campus and think, where else should I go and invest in multifamily real estate? No. I want to serve those Amazon tenants, those employees right there. I want to produce a quality product that they feel comfortable with. And so that's where we always deliver the high quality, not only in the professional services, but of course in our renovation specs. We do full renovations in all of our assets that we do. And then we try to release to these higher credit score, higher earning tenants, and they treat the properties very well, which then goes full circle because you're able to have a staff that operates in a great environment with those assets. Yeah.
So it's obvious to me, and we talked about it with Kevin, but just want to hear it from you. So how did you guys pick Seattle? And because there's a lot of places to pick around here that are great inside or outside the area. You want to dive deeper into that?
Well, we were both born and raised in the area, and Seattle is the perfect blend of risk and return. We don't feel comfortable with kind of the crime rates down south. Tacoma, that's not a market that we're interested in going into. Now, the east side, the value out here is so high, it's kind of the opposite. It's so risk adverse that the property values are so high, you're very seldomly going to find a deal that pencils on the east side. So Seattle is this perfect blend of yield to opportunity and ability to serve these tenants down there. So it's where our deals pencil the best, is kind of in the core market of Seattle. And that's because our strategy was kind of born in that market. The way that we look at deals was born in that market. And that's where we execute best, is right down there in core Seattle.
Yeah.
All your core neighborhoods we're in at this point.
So I'm just going to ask you the question since we're on the air, because, Seattle's definitely got a little bit of a rap for their multifamily right now. And you guys definitely found your niche and how to be great landlords. And how do you overcome some of the negative talk about investing in Seattle?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are talking about the policies that are talking about something like rent control and elements like that. We found ways to work around that and with that and still execute our projects. Really what rent control has done to us is it's allowed us, I think that the price of value add has come down a little bit, so which is good because that's where we buy. We want to buy at a low basis. But once you succeed in the business model, then the price of the stabilized assets has gone up slightly, and we're expecting that gap to even widen. But in Seattle, none of those policies really impact us all that much. I mean, it's just really treating the tenants the way that you should be treating them. But what it's really allowing us to do is operate right around the tech. You want to be where the money is, you want to be where the high earners are, and you want to be serving that population. Your real estate will go very well. You have a lot of very little deferred maintenance. They're not going to beat the property up. They're going to live in there and they're going to respect it, and they're going to build communities. So that's why we love Seattle so much. And honestly, the policy, it's nothing that's impacted us too much. It's our core competencies operating in Seattle and around all of those things, and our business plans and execution on them, show for themselves. We've actually executed every single business plan in front of our timeline expectations. So we've beaten every single one of our timelines, and we've been at or below.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, I know, right? We've been at or below budget, under budget on every single one as well.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament because you guys do look at everything conservatively. So when you're looking at the construction costs, you're going to guess that it's going to be just a little bit higher. So
absolutely.
So because you're doing it for your clients, so they're going to be happy. Hey, we spent a little bit less.
That's exactly
we
how
have
we're
more
trying
equity.
to line it up.
And when it comes time to the amount of work, you're going to be like, look, we got it done a little bit quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you always want. You want pleasant surprises. You be able to celebrate wins. And
you're not trying to force the deal over the line.
No, you're not. You're never trying to do that. And in fact, the deal to the investors, it's not really a sell. It's, is this a good alignment for you and your planning? If this makes sense, then we'd love to have you. If not, then we just want to have people who actually want to be in this space, who are enamored by the idea of multifamily, who want to be investing in it. And then we all have an exciting and fun journey together as we go earn great returns in Seattle.
What I like is when I showed off some of the stuff, people are taking their financial advisors and talking to you guys with their financial advisors.
Oh, yeah.
And their financial advisor is saying, this is something that you need to really think about in a way of investing in it.
Yeah, I actually just got an email yesterday from one of the financial advising companies that represented, it was the IRA that represented somebody in our group, and they said, hey, I'd love to connect with you and see if I can advise some other folks to go into your projects. They seem like something great for them. I'd like to see what's going on behind that gate. So it's absolutely a question that we get more often than you'd think, where the financial advisors approach us and want to learn more because they're trying to serve their community as well. And this is a great way to do that for them.
Yeah. I know you guys are out there and you're really striving to have a great name, but even more than the name, you're looking at every single opportunity as hey, you're protecting your potential investor. And it really seems like you're trying to do your best shooting past your goals. I know that you guys locked up a few deals just recently and didn't release the OMs because you guys are still in deep negotiations until...
That's right.
Until last week?
Yeah, that's right. And fortunately, when we've established this kind of track record, the funds do come in easier and people are quicker to come into the deals. And we do hold the OMs until we have absolute clarity on our due diligence, on our analysis of the deal. And we're not just putting something out there and marketing it by any means. It's going out once it's fully validated, and that's the steadfast business plan, because we are very picky with these assets and we can walk away from them in due diligence if they have some things that we're not comfortable with.
Yeah. It's obvious that I could sit here with Jeff and just pick his brain probably for weeks on, and we're going to have you on again sometime down the road, and we're thinking about putting an event on. We'll tune people into that as well. But Jeff, I just want to say thank you for spending this time and allowing us to see inside this wonderful mind and giving us back so much great information that's going to help listeners with their entrepreneurial journey or investment, or just somebody to reach back out to. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Chris, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure and very honored by the requests that come on, and looking forward to that event where we can kind of sit down and get a bigger group of folks in person and talk to them about multifamily as well. I think that's going to be great. And hopefully some people have taken away some things about entrepreneurship and leadership today. It's a really fun world out there, and you can most certainly go out and make it your own and tread your path. Anyone can do it. Anyone can.
Well,
that's the fact.
Thank you. Thanks again. And
thank you.
You've been here listening to the show Made of More on 1150 AM KKNW. Tune back in to next week. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdmann. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.